Hello again, and welcome to my channel. My name is Doug, and I'm back with yet another fountain pen video review. Those of you that follow my channel will know that I received this Natami Inception about a month ago, and it arrived bent. So in shipping, the section got bent out of shape. And the seller is Bobby on Etsy. He sent me a new nib and section. So here's the old one. I sort of bent it back in shape, but there's a gap in there, and I really want, when you spend $20 on a pen, you want quality. So anyway, I got the new nib and section when I returned from my travels, and I put it in the pen, and I've been using it for a while, and now I'm going to do a review. But before I continue with my review on this beautiful faceted pen, I want to again do a public service announcement about my fingernails. I am a guitar player, and I have a long thumbnail. There you can see it. Index finger, middle finger, there's my middle finger for you, and my ring finger. But you notice that this one is trimmed. These are all trimmed. See? So if you ever see someone that has these three fingers and this thumb on one of their hands, either left or right, but the other fingers have normal nails, that means they're a guitar player. And I can prove it because here I am playing my Martin 000 28 VS. So I invite all of your comments about fountain pens and things like that, but please refrain from telling me that I'm gross and that I should maintain my fingernails, because I have probably more nail paraphernalia than most women. Nail files, nail clippers, nail varnishes, because I play every day. So, that out of the way, let's look at this gorgeous pen. I really loved this pen when I saw it on Etsy. It was on Bobby's Etsy site. And what I loved about it was that it is faceted, and you can see in the light, it just looks gorgeous. I also liked that it has these rose gold hardware on it. And the collar, the cap collar on it, has this flight of time. Now, I don't know whether that's something in Chinese that means something significant, flight of time, or Inception, Natami. I'm not sure what those things might signify, but it's very nice. And let's see how many turns it takes here. 1, 2. 2 full turns to come off. And the section is the same material as the body. It feels like plastic. It feels more like plastic than resin. And so it's a fairly light pen. And the plastic itself tends to get, that kind of wear on it. I've polished this up a bit, but you can see just from moving it in and out of your pocket or putting it in a book or something like that, it'll get these wear marks on it. But I do like the look of this, the color. It has a really nice transparency to it. It's not eyedropperable because it has this metal threads on the end of the section. It is a converter, and I have been using it with Iroshizuku Yamabudo, which I thought was a nice match with this pen. It is a standard kind of torpedo shape fountain pen, and it has what I would say is a 5.5 inch nib, not inch, a 5.5 nib rather than a 6 or a 5. It's sort of in between. But it's very nice. It has some sort of deco kind of curvature engravings on it, and it says, I can't read what it says. Too small for me, but there's a circle F there, and Natami. And there's the look at the plastic feed. And you can take that feed out. Just pulls right out. Standard kind of feed. And there's the nib. Of course, that's the second one. When I bent the first one back into shape, roughly into shape, I tried to write with it, and it was okay, but that nib wasn't, I would say, stunning. It didn't thrill me, so I was hoping that the replacement would be a much better one. Let's continue to look at the cap here. The clip is very pretty in the rose gold. It is very serviceable. It's not as stiff as some you'll get. And of course we go up into this cap finial, which you can see very, very slightly through there. You can see that it screws on. Inside there is a slip cap and a spring. And so this pen behaves very much like the Platinum 3776, so that the last turn you feel it engage, and there's a little spring in there. Maybe you can see it, maybe you can't. A little spring in there that engages and presses the nib into that seal. That should keep it airtight. So that's a really nice feature. The pen does not post. So I'm pretty sure that's because of the facets. This is round, and those are plastic threads in there, and this is faceted, and so you can put it on there, but it just falls off. But I don't tend to post my pens, and this pen is plenty long enough when you're in the writing position for it to feel comfortable in the hand. The section is a good size. These threads are not noticeable at all, and so you've got a generous amount of room to write with. I'm going to do some measurements and some weights, and I'll run them up on the screen. Now, let's get down to a writing sample. As I say, I've been using this pen for a little while now, and I'm very pleased with the new nib. Of course, the section is not bent, which is great, but this nib is substantially better than the first one I tried. So I'm going to put this pen to paper, and we'll do a rating on it. And we are back with the Natami Inception. Let's do a writing sample. As I said before, I have inked this up with Iroshizuku Yamabudo. We have the Natami. Inception. It is a fine nib. you might be able to hear there's some feedback, but this is very smooth. Yeah, I'm liking this writing experience very, very much. That's a very smooth writing experience. As far as wetness goes, it's not the wettest nib I've had, but it stands up to some quick writing. That was my fault. I had it at the wrong angle. But I've not found that there's any hard starting at all. And it's smooth in all directions. And I did no smoothing on this at all. This is exactly the way it came to me. It's very stiff though. There's no spring in this at all. Again, not expecting any. So what I've decided to do is do an adaptation of Chris Rapp's evaluation guide for a rating system. Rating system. This is what we're going to do. I borrowed his categories of design, engineering, build, writing, and I've added writing feel to this, and look and value. Instead of giving check marks like Chris does, I'm going to rate each one of these categories out of 4. And 0 is going to be a total fail. 1 would be bad. 2 as a pass. 3 would be above average. And 4 would be excellent. I used to rate my students like this every day in a practical lab class where they would get a grade from 0 to 4. If they were absent, they got a 0. If they were there in body but not in mind, they got a 1. If they just did passable work, they got a 2. If they were energetic and interested and wanting to learn and doing some good work, they got an above average 3. And if they were crackerjack perfect at what they were doing, they got a 4. So I'm used to that kind of grading system as a lifelong teacher. So I'm not sure that I'm used to these categories though, because I'm not an engineer like Chris is, and I'm not that experienced in pens to know whether it's a good build or a bad build. And I've only been purchasing Chinese pens, so in terms of value, I have got a relatively expensive Visconti, but I don't have a lot of experience with many different kinds of pens from big manufacturers. So this is my first time at rating like this, and we'll see how it goes. I might adapt this for my use in future videos. But so far, I can pass judgment on the design of this. I really like the design of this pen. And it may be because it's a copy of the Century 3776 by Platinum. I've held and written with a Platinum 3776 at the pen store. and it feels very much like this. This might feel a little bit heavier than those, but it is the same look and feel. And I love the overall design. I love the idea of the rose gold with the reddish color. This comes in green and clear as well. And I like the slip cap inside with the spring on it. So in terms of its overall design, I think it's very well put together. It's well balanced, and I'm going to give it a 4 for design. In terms of engineering, I don't see any flaws in this at all. The threads are all nicely made. I don't feel that the cap can be cross-threaded. The converter works well. The nib and feed assembly pull out very nicely. I'm not sure that I can replace that nib with anything because it is kind of a proprietary size. But overall, in terms of engineering, it looks like it's well made. There's no flashing on the plastic. If it is injection molded plastic, it's done very, very well. So in terms of engineering, I'm going to give it a 3 because I think it's above average. Don't know enough to know whether it's perfectly engineered, whether that's the right kind of structure in there or whatever. In terms of build, it is what I would consider well made. I've had some wing sungs that were fairly cheap, and they just feel cheap, and they feel like they're cheaply made. This has some solid heft to it, and it looks like it's very well made. I'm going to give it a 3 for build. In terms of writing and feel, this is a beautiful pen. It sits in my hand very, very nicely. I love the way it glides on the page. It's well balanced. The only thing that I don't like about it is that it doesn't post. But again, as I say, I don't post my pens generally, and it becomes too long anyway for that. So in terms of writing and feel, it writes and feels like a 4. And I love the look, so I'm going to give it a 4 for the look of it too, because it really is a gorgeous pen. Just look at it flash in the light. I mean, all you have to do is write with this and pull it out of your pocket, and people go, "Ooh, look at that! Isn't that pretty?" It's so pretty, in fact, that I don't own this pen anymore. My wife has taken it from me, so I might have to get myself another one. So in terms of overall value, this pen is about $21.99, I think. I'll put up the invoice so you can see how much it was exactly. I think it was about $21.99 plus a little bit of shipping from Etsy, Bobby's pen site on Etsy. So overall value for roughly $20, I think this is an excellent value pen. Look and feel and everything, and I'm going to give it a 4 out of 4 for that. So let's add this up. We've got 22 out of 24, which I would say is a pass. So, Natami Inception, beautiful pen, and as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all real soon.